Good morning, dear friends. Here we are. What a blessed morning to be together, or a blessed day, evening, afternoon. If you're watching this on demand or if you're listening to it through the many playlists, welcome. In today's chapter from the book Calmness by the Spirit Emmanuel, through the mediumship of Francisco Candido Xavier. And part of the reason we do these study sessions is so that we can learn new techniques, so that we can trim our irritations, and we find ways to eliminate sources of bitterness and irritation in our life so we can feel calm and tranquil. And this chapter is titled by Emmanuel, Trimming Irritations. It's truly a how-to see things differently so we do not incur in irritation and bitterness that will lead us to the lack of calmness in our lives. A lot of the things we're going to address today, if we put into practice, is a very practical chapter, will allow you and I to feel calmer and to not see things so personally and such in detriment to our psychological, spiritual, and physical health. So let's see what Emmanuel has in store for us today. Chapter or message 11, Trimming Irritations by Emmanuel. Quote, if you still have the habit of making yourself angry, and if you can already recognize the losses it brings you, you can clearly eradicate it, tending to your own renewal. Start daily activities, thinking about God, and thanking your possibilities of doing good, unquote. So the first few parts is you are here today recognizing the importance of calmness. You're already halfway through. He says, if you have the habit of making yourself angry, who does not? Sometimes we look for things to be angry at or irritated by. He says you can already recognize what a loss that is, what loss incurs when you get angry. And he says you can clearly eradicate it. And when we eradicate our angry habits, we can tend or we can work on our own renewal. Go back to the books of Emmanuel, especially Paul and Stephen. You see Jeziel and Abigail and how calmer they are, how they consult the scriptures when they have a problem. Paul does that throughout his journey as well. And the mentors in the spirits, the books brought to us by Andrea Luiz always have this vibrational pattern of calmness. They never allow themselves to be mixed in with the emotions of those who are suffering, who they are helping at the moment. So this is a teaching for you and I. He says, start your daily activities with thinking about God. So how do you start your daily activities? Do we jump at the sound of the alarm and go and do things, or do we actually stop, take a deep breath in, and recognize that we are back from the spiritual realm? Because when we sleep, we are returning to the spiritual realm temporarily. And we think, are we thanking God, thinking about God and thanking the possibilities of doing good today, now? When you watch this, when let it play so the spirits around you can hear as well, when you share this with someone who is in need, you are using the possibilities of doing good today, because it's only today. Yesterday is already past, and tomorrow is yet to come. So today is what we have. So today we can eradicate our habits of being angry, and we can start our daily activities on the right foot by thinking about God. He says, think of the companions that until now are able to induce you to bitterness, as your brothers and sisters with qualities for now as imperfect as ours or yours. So when we think about those who are able to make us bitter and angry, sometimes we allow them to make ourselves bitter and angry. Emmanuel is saying, think of them having qualities, abilities, habits that are as imperfect as ours. Because when we see others as how we are, then we can treat them the way we want to be treated if we find ourselves in that situation. Then you can be calmer and say, okay, they're doing this. They may or may not be intending to irritate us or to make us better. But if I was in a difficult times, they're still imperfect, just as I am. Or if I were the one going about on my day without even knowing I'm irritating someone, how would you like people to treat you with the same kindness that you now are extending to someone else? He will say, if any trace of bitterness or sourness stick to your heart regarding the unhappy behaviors of someone through actions that you consider harmful to your teachings, excuse that someone trying to forget the naturally unthinkable fault. So let's think about this current times we are on the earth, because the whole point of these is knowledge is great. We should aim to take knowledge, because when you go to the spiritual realm, guess what? Physical books, in order to access libraries and studies, you have to earn it. Here we have a lot we can download and have on our phones, and we don't even read it. So knowledge is important. Knowing is the first part. The second part is thinking, if God granted me the opportunity of being in this lifetime, on the times of planetary transition, watching this show this morning on calmness, what am I here to learn? How can I apply these teachings to my life? And he says, if our hearts are sour, traces of bitterness and sourness sticking to our hearts due to the behavior of others that we consider harmful to our teachings, try to forget the unthinkable or unplanned fault. How many times we go about our days today and we see someone post something or do something or look at us funny, and we immediately assume that they're doing it to make us mad. Or we're allowing ourselves to be bitter and angry and sour due to their behavior. And now you're not owning your own emotions, you're allowing someone else to dictate how you feel. And worse, we're judging them because those actions we consider harmful to our teachings, to our values. But those actions may be coherent with their values and teachings at that level of evolution that they find themselves and that we find ourselves. And how do I know what I'm about to say to you is true? Because the next sentence, what I've just told you, this reflection, in the next sentence, Emmanuel will tell us, ponder that if others make mistakes, we also make mistakes many times. As spirits still linked to the multiple layers of terrestrial evolution. Do not accept yourself as infallible in order to understand with indulgence those who fail your trust. Unquote, right now. So he's saying, others make mistake, reflect on this. We make mistakes, and he adds many times. And we're not making mistakes on purpose, purposefully making other people's lives harder. Our mistakes may make the life of others harder. Sometimes we wake up about our day, going about our own agenda, instead of starting the day with thinking of God and thanking the opportunities of service. He says we are all spirits still linked to the multiple layers of terrestrial evolution. So we are not yet a superior spirit. So he says, do not consider yourself as infallible, meaning you cannot make mistakes, you don't err. Because when you see yourself as someone who has made mistakes and who may make mistakes in this lifetime, then you can see with indulgence, you can understand people who fail as well. And that's the beautiful part of the end here. So he's asking us, how are you allowing yourself to be angry, bitter, and sour due to what you are judging other people doing? How are the behaviors of others, their attitudes, affecting how you feel, don't feel tranquility in your lives? So when we go about thinking that we're better than others, that we don't make mistakes, they do, or that what they're doing inflict on my values, then I am allowing others to dictate how I feel. And then I can't do what the title of the message is, which is Trim Irritations. Identifying that you maintain control of your mind, of your paraspiritual body, of your physical body. You can choose to respond in a non-irritative fashion towards the behaviors of others when you understand they are like you and I, learning today as much as we were learning yesterday and we'll be learning tomorrow. There's still a long path to pure spirit from where we are on the earth. We can hasten it, we can make it faster by learning the lessons instead of having to repeat them multiple times, but we're still learning. It's not a jump, it's not a leap, it's a step ladder. In order to get to the top, you have to go through the steps of the ladder. And you say, reflecting the intimacy of your heart, that no one can achieve something without the help of someone, so that you can take advantage of the mature values of the collaborators that divine providence has entrusted to you without spoiling their still green values. So the values of spirituality, the mature values of solidarity, charity, service to others. So he says, reflect that you haven't got where you are without the help of someone. You didn't birth yourself. You didn't gestate yourself. You didn't feed yourself when you're young. You didn't go to school on your own. Maybe some people are savants, they can self-teach. But the majority of us counted on someone else who built the road, someone else built our home, someone else built a school, someone else went to school to teach and taking care of us, someone else opened a daycare so our parents could work while we were there. So we cannot achieve something without the help of someone, even if we think we're individualistic and we can do all on our own. Now, our own growth is our own responsibility, but when we are growing, we need to realize we are growing in conjunction with the work and the service and the collaborators that divine providence has entrusted to us. In our spiritist groups, we don't do everything on our own, nor do in our families, in our homes, nor in schools, nor at work. So that's a mind shift where you're thinking, okay, I'm allowing that person to irritate me, but they are a collaborator, they are children of God. Maybe they are part of my spiritist center. I can say, how can I bring the best in them to our meetings, to our positions, so that we can help them continue to collaborate in goodness? He says, refrain from regretting failures and difficulties that have already passed, and give yourself to a construction of your own peace on the basis of service and discernment. So have you erred in the past? Chances are the answer is yes. I have erred. You have erred. He says, refrain from regretting those failures and difficulties and ruminating on the past. Give yourself to reconstruction of your peace. You hurt someone, go make amends. You did something that you regret today. Find meaning. Make meaning out of that situation. Go volunteer with folks who have committed the same errors in the past, have done something wrong to hurt others. Go find places where you can serve, because the reconstruction of our own peace, according to Emmanuel, has its basis service and discernment. Don't dwell in the past. Make a commitment to be better today, tomorrow, each and every minute. And to finish, he says, let us not forget that in the most complicated circumstances, life requires us to do what? To practice good. And therefore, in any occasion, each one of us is a time to understand and bless, to assist and serve. So today, my wish for all of us is that we can find today, this minute, this hour, this morning, this afternoon, this night, as a time to understand, to bless others with our service, to assist them when they are in need, and to serve them in whichever capacity, abilities that you have in this lifetime to be of service to God. Let's start our day thinking of God, thinking the opportunities to do good, and applying those teachings to our daily lives. Friends, thank you so very much for joining me. And until next time, when we return with another chapter from the book Right Path, many blessings. May God send you the collaborators you need in your life. May you be a collaborator to someone in their lives. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.